Hey, everybody, it's your friend James Shaw. Thanks so much for being here. We're going to do what we do all the time, which is talk to amazing people doing amazing things. We have a story of grit, a story of perseverance, a story of overcoming today that we're going to share with you. I want to warn you that this could be an emotional conversation for some of you that are watching as we talk to Bill. Bill, you've had quite a journey, and we're going to start with some of the not so great part of your journey, which is your battle with alcohol and drug addiction, and what happened that got you to rock bottom, and then how you have rebounded from that. But I want to tell up front, we are going to go there today. So I just want everyone watching to be prepared. But Bill, introduce yourself to our community. Tell us who you are, where you are, and a little bit about your business.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on, James. Really great to be here. I'm Bill DeVore. I'm in the Asheville, North Carolina Market Center. I service all of Western North Carolina. I've been in the business. This is my fourth year. Sold 125 homes in 4 years. So it's been really good.
The reason we wanted to have you on is because I saw a post that said you're doing 25 contacts a day every day. And I'm like, we got to tell that story. But then as we uncover your story, there's more to the story to tell. So we're going to get to how you're doing 25 contacts a day every day in a minute. But you're going to be gracious enough to kind of share your journey with us. And it has not been a pink fluffy unicorn dancing on a rainbow the whole time. Let's go, kind of back into that 2018 time. Things were not good.
Things were not good. No, it was, and I drank every day. I tell people I did about 20 years worth of drinking in about 5 to 7 years. And add drugs to that, and it just escalated it really quickly. And I had moments of sobriety. I'm open about it. I have 2 DUIs to my name. Been to jail twice. The last one I had an extended stay. I don't recommend it if you've never been. Drank every day. Was coming home one night, July 24th, 2018, and was going 110 miles an hour down the interstate and hit the car in front of me. Gratefully, no one was injured that night. Very gratefully. However, I had reached the end. I was ready to, I had called my parents. I called my dad and said I just didn't want to be here anymore. And said I walked across traffic that night 3 different times, back and forth. And something kept pushing me across. I think for me, that's nothing other than God doing for me what I couldn't do for myself. And I walked in the woods. Little did I know I was going to fall in a 35-foot ravine straight to the bottom. And I came out with a scratch above my eye. And the cops said they were going to send in the dogs if I didn't find a way to get back out. And I found a way to get back out. And they pulled me out. Of course, I failed sobriety tests and went to jail since I had a prior one, and stayed 7 days in jail. Needed that. My parents left me in there, and I needed that. It definitely humbled me a lot. And, for the first time, I just said I couldn't do this anymore. Got out after bonding out, and went to rehab for 30 days. Best decision I think I ever made. But I drank every day. That was my habit. My habit today is 25 contacts. That was my habit every day, was drinking and drugging. And then they said, where do you want to move to? You're going to get out of rehab and now you got to rebuild your life. And I had no idea where to start. Wilmington and Asheville are actually 2 great recovery communities. And I said, let's go. Wilmington sounded fun. So I said, let's do the opposite of fun for the first time in my life. And I said, let's move to boring Asheville, what I thought was boring Asheville. I'd never been.
Great town, though. You found out Asheville's a great town.
It's great.
Yeah.
And got dropped off and didn't have a car, didn't have a driver's license, I had a book bag. That's what I had. And started working at Chick-fil-A.
Yeah. So you were in Charlotte when all this happened.
Yep.
You got in this accident. Thankfully, like you said, nobody was injured or killed.
Yeah.
Jail, then rehab, and then now you're going to go start fresh in a town you don't know anybody, and you can't drive. You didn't have a driver's license or a car for 2 years.
Yeah, it was like 537 days. Not that I was counting.
Okay, right. So you get a job at Chick-fil-A, but you had your real estate license already?
I had a real estate license, so my
And the
parents.
commission didn't give you a hard time about this? The real
Oh, they
estate
did.
commission?
Oh, they did.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I know, I mean, I'm licensed in North Carolina like you. And most states, a DUI is going to be an issue in getting your real estate license.
Oh yeah, it was. I was on several phone calls, and it was a process. They gave me I got my spotlight in the NC bulletin. So.
Oh, okay, all right. The North Carolina people will understand that. That's the only part of the newsletter that you read is who's gotten in trouble. Okay, so and I don't want to make light of it, but you are at the bottom of the bottom, and you're doing this reset. So you go get a job at Chick-fil-A in Asheville, but you can't drive. You don't have a driver's license. So how do you go from that to having a successful business where, 4 years in now, you've sold well over 100 homes?
Yeah. So great question. I rode the bus every morning. And I'd get the 5:15 bus to get to Chick-fil-A on Merriman Avenue by 8 a.m. I'd get there about 7:30. Somewhere along the road, Stephen Cooley and we were connected before, and he reached out and said, what brought you to Asheville? And I kind of told him this whole story. And he said, wow, I think you can sell houses. And I said, Stephen, I don't have a car. This isn't going to work. And he said, I think that sounds like an excuse. And I was like, yeah, well, whatever. He said, I think you need to talk to Jeff Stewart. So he got me in touch with Jeff and Hannah.
He's the team leader. Jeff's team leader at the time, the team leader in the Asheville Market Center.
And he said, I think you can do it. I think you can sell houses. And I said, Jeff, he tells the story, and he says, I came in and I just said, I just wanted an opportunity, because I just wanted someone to believe in me. I needed someone to give me a chance to do something different. And that's what he did, is he gave me a chance. And I said I was willing to do whatever it took. And he said, because I asked him, we were just with Gene Rivers taking career visioning. And I said, did you know that I was going to be talent? Did you know that going? He said, no, I didn't know that at that moment. But he said, I saw grit and determination, and I knew what that could lead to.
Okay, that's really powerful. Somebody believed in you when you didn't believe in yourself. We talk about that all the time. If you don't believe in yourself, borrow somebody else's belief, and that worked for you.
It did.
But again, you still had to make a decision, and what you said is, you'll do whatever it takes. But Bill, I've been around long enough to have lots of people tell me, I'm James, I'm willing to do whatever it takes, and they don't mean it. It is a bunch of air, hot air, and BS. So how do you go from saying you'll do whatever it takes to actually doing whatever it takes?
Yeah. I think rock bottom can be the firm foundation on which you rebuild a life. And I think that, or I know that I had nothing. I went to jail with negative $150 in my bank account. It can get worse, but at that moment it couldn't get much worse. So I said, and I remember my parents were like, you can't do this. You're never going to cap, blah, 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 blah. And, I gave them every reason to believe that. And because selling houses without a car in Western North Carolina is pretty spread out. That doesn't sound like a winning combination.
Yeah, I want to interrupt because I don't want people to be mad at your parents. I think your parents are trying to protect you. When people tell you can't do something, it's not because they don't believe in you. It's because they want to protect you. And your parents have lived through this hell with you too. Yeah. They want a sober son who's healthy, and they have seen you not be sober and not be healthy.
And that sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Exactly. So they're looking at this and going, there's no way. And they just want to protect you. So I just don't want anybody thinking your parents are why would his parents say that? Because your parents are trying to be realistic.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And try to protect you from another challenge or problem, right?
Absolutely. I didn't necessarily see it like that in the moment, but I see it like that now.
Sure. 100%. I don't think many people I just think it's important to remember that when people tell you can't do something, it's not because they don't believe in you. It's usually because they want to protect you. And that's what your parents were doing here. But you ignored that, it sounds like, and went and did it anyway. And you got deals. Your first deal, help me, your first deal came from the Chick-fil-A drive-thru?
It did. They came through every day, the Willies. And they bought a house, $400,000, 24-day close. And I got after the cap was paid, I got a $9,000 check and had no idea. I'd never seen something that big in my life.
How does somebody lead generate from the drive-through window at Chick-fil-A? I mean, honestly, it sounds like you just built a relationship with this customer that came in all the time. So you guys got to know each other. I mean, that's ultimately what it was, right?
So shockingly enough, I mean, you have the same 20 people that come through the drive-through every day at Chick-fil-A. You do. It just like anywhere else. They come through every day. He came through every day at 3 p.m. And I just got to know them. And same thing with a lot of people. It's all a relationship building. My business today is 63% Sphere and 37% agent referrals. It is all about the relationship building.
Your next deal came from AA. You said 4 to 5 AA meetings a week.
Yep.
That's an important piece for you to keep you healthy, keep you on the right track, keep you moving in the right direction, but you build relationships inside of that community as well.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I haven't, and I'm 5 years and 4 months sober.
Cheers to you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I guess the thing that I think about as you share this story is when I originally reached out to you, it was because I wanted to talk about how Bill is doing 25 contacts a day every day when so many people struggle to do 5.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you, well, how does one do that? But I think I figured it out. 25 contacts a day is easy when you look at the other battles you have fought and won.
Absolutely.
What advice would you give to someone, though, that hasn't had your battles, that hasn't had the backstory that you have, to allow them to create some momentum like this?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you have to, I still do a life by design form. What do you want? Where are you going? What's your vision for yourself? And, for a long time, my vision and my why has changed a lot over the years. And it was just first, I didn't want to be drunk today. That was for a long time. That was, and it's still, I'm not going to get drunk today, but, and that was it for a long time. I just wanted to be sober and I wanted to be happy, whatever happy in that moment looked like. And, I got it when I got honest with myself. I got honest with other people. And I just found out what my why was. And, now I have a wife and a 21-month-old, and, she doesn't have to work. She can be a stay-at-home mom. That's my why. And so it is just important to get to know what's important to you and to have that life by design, because you can create it. And it doesn't have to be 25 contacts. I didn't start out that way, so early on, I hired a MAPS coach after I had my first couple of closings. And then I went to Bold, like in the first 4 months of being at Keller Williams. Tammy Youngs was my first Bold coach. And then I hired Brittany Purcell. She was my very first MAPS coach. And she said, what's it going to take to lead generate every day? So I had to write a check to someone that I didn't want it to go to. I think it was a $5,000 check. It was half of what was in my savings account. And I had to mail it to her. And I had to check in with her every day with my 10 contacts, Monday through Friday, no weekends and no holidays. Do you think, and she, if you know her, she's crazy enough, and she knows, we've talked about this, she's crazy enough to mail that check if I didn't check in with her.
She would mail the check, 100%.
She would mail the check.
Yeah, she would. She would. But that's because she cares about you. I want to set the stage too on that. That was something you mutually agreed to. So she didn't force you to do that. That was, you guys walked through a journey. Again, I never want someone to get, oh my gosh, why? No, that was, you agreed to do that with her, in partnership with her.
Pain versus pleasure. I move away from the pain of losing something.
Right. So that was the thing you picked. That was the question I imagine she asked you is, Bill, what is it going to take for you to make your contacts every day? Yep. And you were at that moment more likely to do something to avoid pain than you were to run toward pleasure. And so that's when the $5,000 check came up. But so you did that. Did she ever have to cash the check?
She never did. So
right. So you did your 10 a day, every weekday, no weekends, no holidays. What happened to your business when you started to get consistent in that type of activity?
Yeah, after 90 days, $6 million worth of business came out.
Come on.
Yeah, after we tracked for 90 days. And then it hasn't really stopped since then.
Well, how long ago was that? When was Brittany coaching you and you had to go to this 10 contact a day thing?
2019 into 2020.
Okay, so it's 4 years later.
Yeah.
And the momentum hasn't stopped from that 90 days, but you had to be willing to do the 90 days. It seems like and I don't want, I hope this comes across right. I get nervous, right, sometimes when I do this stuff, but it seems like that. So your rehab was 30 days. Like you went into a place for 30 days after you spent a week in jail, you go to rehab for 30 days.
Yep.
You're not healed, but that creates this momentum.
It does.
I imagine for a change in lifestyle. And so now you go on this journey. But 30 days is not a long time for someone who's an alcoholic and has a disease that you'll have for the rest of your life. but you spend 30 days in this rehab to give you the momentum you need to move in the right direction. And in the business, it just took 90 days. Like it is 90 days of doing the right thing gave you momentum. Is that what it takes? Is that we've just got to be willing to go through the hard for a period of time to get the reward on the other side?
It's because there are days when it's not fun.
Right.
There are days it took me till midnight to get that one. There are days that I got it done by noon and I got to go play golf in the afternoon. So it's what works for you. Then 10 contacts wasn't getting me the appointments that I needed. So now Jeannie Osnes is my MAPS coach, and we have 18. Then we went to 18 contacts. Now we've went to 25. I can pretty much set an appointment with 25 contacts a day.
That's the lesson of how when the market changes, your activity has to change. What worked before doesn't work anymore. And so you have to, as Gary would say, up yours, right? Gary said that from the stage. You got to up yours. He's talking about your lead gen. Don't get crazy, but you've got to, so you had to go from 10 to 18 to now 25, to get the result that you want. All right. This sounds great, Bill. It's a pink fluffy unicorn dancing on a rainbow when before it wasn't. But my guess is there's still been some mistakes, challenges, and issues along the way. What have been some of the lessons, the mistakes, and challenges that you've experienced on this journey?
So now it's the hiring process. Now it's bringing on people because I can only do so much. And it's the database. So 63% of my business comes from the database, and I have 259 contacts in my database. So it's growing it, and now it's not letting that slip. That's where I'm working towards now, is keeping that database nurtured and people loved on. And so it's finding the right person to bring in. And I've taken career visioning a couple of times. So it's implementing that to get to the next level. But it's been a fun journey. So
no doubt. What advice would you give to an agent who is struggling to get their contacts up or get consistent in their daily activities? What advice would you give to them?
Yeah. So what do you like to do? When I didn't know anybody here in Asheville. So what did I do? I partnered with a lender, and I went to the coffee shop for an hour and a half from 8:30 to 10 one morning. Right. But this was before COVID. And then once COVID hit, we didn't do it anymore. But I met 75 people. We split it down the middle. It was like $125 a piece, and we paid for everyone's cup of coffee that came through there. And the barista just would send them over to us. And then I would just say, thank you for being a valuable part of this community. And then everyone's going out saying, Bill DeVore with Keller Williams just bought me a cup of coffee. This is so great. I met vendors that day. And then golf, that was my career prior to real estate. And I would go and pair myself up with a random threesome or foursome or twosome at the golf course, and would go play and just go meet people. So get out and meet people. It doesn't have to be, I'm not talking to people on the phone every single day. I do that. That is part of it. But a lot of it is face-to-face interaction. Like I do much better in that scenario. It's not all about calling expireds and for sale by owners. I don't cold call. But it's social media. It's finding what works for you. On page 137, 138 of MREA, there's so many different lead generation strategies. Pick what works for you. Pick what's going to work and go from there.
Yeah, it's 138. So it's really smart. Find the stuff you love. Go do that because that's sustainable. That's something you can keep going. What advice would you give to someone who's struggling with addiction?
Yeah, talk to someone, because I speak from experience. We want to sit in the house. We want to sit in the corner, and we don't want anybody to know that we're struggling and that we keep up this facade. And I speak from experience when I say that, but it's getting out and talking to people. I tell people all the time, I sell houses for fun, but I change lives for a living. Mm-hmm. And you never know whose life you're going to change just by speaking up or just by saying, I need help. It helps me when someone reaches out for me to say, I need help. That helps me just as much as it's going to help you. And, there is help out there. We all struggle. We all struggle at different times of our life, but it's not a life sentence. It doesn't have to be forever.
Thanks for sharing your story with us. There's somebody watching this that you and I will never know about who got helped by watching this interview today. So thank you for sharing it with us. Congratulations on overcoming what you've overcome and then pursuing greatness in this business and in your life. Congratulations on being a husband and a father. And I just wish you all the best, Bill. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
You got it.